Hi there, Star Wars collectors, and welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing the Star Wars The Vintage Collection Obi-Wan Kenobi Jedi Legend from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So this is his look from the very end of the series where he encountered the ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn. And this is the outfit for me that most people wanted to see in figure form. And I think that kind of goes back to when Sideshow released the Mythos Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think it's called Mythos anyway. And that kind of had like an Alec Guinness head, but he was wearing a very similar outfit and he had the goggles and things like that. So it's quite pleasing that we now have this figure in the line. I do believe that there is a fair amount of reuse with this figure, using the main body from the version that we got in that 2-pack, the Obi-Wan Kenobi 2-pack with the face-off with Darth Vader, the Showdown version. Really good figure, that one. So we'll see in a minute. We will compare the two, how much reuse there has actually been. But you know, looking at the card back there looks pretty cool anyway. So with all that being said, if you did enjoy the video, hit the like button down below, subscribe if you're new, and let's take a closer up look at that card back. All right then, so here is a look at the card back. We've got a green name pill, green panel behind the figure there. And there is Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi in that sort of Jedi Legend outfit. I think there might be a little bit of photoshopping going on with that image there. It looks pretty clean, but still, it looks pretty good anyway. And on the back there, we've got VC357 in the line. And this figure was included in the same wave as Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. And most of those reviews from that wave should already be on the channel. I may still need to do Baylan Skoll actually, but there he is in the bubble looking pretty cool. And as I said, fair amount of reuse with this figure. And we'll get into all of that when we do the comparison when we open him up. Vintage Collection logo on the back there, and there you can see the figure. So I'm pretty sure that you can put the goggles on top of his head and also around his neck if you pop the head off, but again, we'll do all that right now when we get the figure out of the package. Here is Obi-Wan Kenobi Jedi Legend out of the packaging. Got him in a pretty simple pose there, and as you can see, you are able to get those goggles over his head and they fit on his eye sockets pretty well. You do have to stretch those goggles ever so slightly to get them over the head, and we will pop the head off in a second as well to put them around his neck to see what that looks like. But pretty simple pose there, and he's looking pretty good. He does have soft goods robes which kind of go over the arms. They're not split at the sides or anything like that, but they do not have the arms, which of course is accurate to his outfit. As I mentioned before, there is quite a lot of reuse with this figure, and we will bring in the other Obi-Wan Kenobi so we can see what parts that they have reused. In fact, we'll do that right now. All right then, so here are the two Obi-Wan Kenobis standing next to each other. This one is from the 2-pack that came with Darth Vader. And from what I can see, the upper torso and the arms, and we'll check the head sculpt in a minute, are completely reused from this figure. The lower tunic looks a little bit different, and also the belt. And of course, this version also had the side blaster as well. That little holster on the side there. This version does not have that. He only has that little pouch going on. But again, I will take the soft goods off of this one in a second so we can get a real good comparison going. But from my mind, it looks to me that the upper torso and the arms and possibly the head is what has been reused. The legs look completely different to me because this one has boots on. Whether they've used legs from another figure on this figure, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below. I haven't checked that out too much. Of course, this one has those really skinny legs there at the bottom with those sort of wrappings going around the top of his boots. This one, he has those higher boots going all the way up to the knee. But we're going to take the soft goods off of this one now so we can see in a bit more detail. So now we've taken the soft goods robe off of the new figure so we can take a closer look. And also I've put the goggles around his neck. It's really simple to do. You just need to pop the head off, hang the goggles around the neck, and put the head back on. Simple as that. And taking a closer up look at these two heads, they look identical to me in terms of the sculpt. They've just repainted them ever so slightly different. So the new version, the Jedi Legend version, has a lot darker hair and also a darker facial hair as well, it looks like to me. But in terms of the sculpt, they are exactly the same. And as you can see, the upper portion of the torso is exactly the same, and the arms too. With the hands, it looks to me like they've just painted those gloves on to those existing hands. But if you look at the lower half of the torso and the belt area, that looks completely different to me, different sculpt, and also the legs are completely different as well because he now has the boots as well. So that's the comparison for you. And now we've done that, we can take a closer up look at the Jedi Legend figure. Okay then, so taking a look at the Jedi Legend figure in a bit more detail, there's those little goggles that just hang around his neck, or you can place them over his eyes, whichever you choose to do. And there's the head sculpt, exactly the same as the previous figure, but just painted ever so slightly different. And right now I'm going to bring this Obi-Wan in as well, because this is another one from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and you can see that he actually has different hair. And they repainted this one as well. So now we've got 4 Obi-Wans from the Obi-Wan series. It is actually quite ridiculous when you think about it. When you look at that Obi-Wan offering for the Obi-Wan series, we've got 4 Obi-Wans, 2 Darth Vaders, and not a lot else. We've got the Jawa, the Trooper, I think, that came in that 3-pack. And then we've got Reva as well, haven't we? And apart from that, I can't think of too many others that we've got from that series. So heavy on the Obi-Wans. There's the head sculpt, tunic, lightsaber hanging down. He's got the pouch on that side of his belt. And there's those legs and boots. So it's whether they've used those on another figure. They probably have, to be honest. And some people that look at these things a bit closer than I do will probably be able to tell me in the comment section below. So I'd appreciate that if you could do that. It is noticeable that the white that they've used, or the cream color that they've used on the legs, is different to the tunic ever so slightly. But there he is. Pretty cool figure nonetheless. Here's the soft goods. As I mentioned, it doesn't have any sleeves, and on the back they have pinned the hood down, which they seem to be doing quite a lot lately. It does stop it flapping around, which is probably a good thing. And, you know, really easy to put this on and off. Just obviously slot the arms through the little holes. And there he is once again with the soft goods on, and you can see the hood tied down at the back there. So yeah, you've got the option of maybe displaying him there with the robes forwards, hanging down the front there, or maybe, you know, tucking them back behind his arms, using his arms there just to tuck them back behind the figure there, so they just sort of flow down the back of the figure like that. So you can then see more of his sort of tunic, depending on how you want to display him. But yeah, pretty cool figure. Apart from that, all you get with it is the lit lightsaber, but I'm not going to be using that. I tend to sort of display my Jedis without the lit lightsabers. I kind of like the look of the lightsaber hanging down from the belt there, and again, that is just pegged in using a very small peg hole. But yeah, I do like this look for Obi-Wan, I must admit. And let's see what else we can do with him. All right then, so because we don't have an EOP or an EOP in the vintage collection, you have to go back to the episode 1 version, which is pretty limited in articulation, but it looks okay. It does the job. You know, the sculpting on the saddle and everything is pretty good. And he does kind of sit on there all right. I mean, the soft vinyl plastic of his lower tunic does kind of get in the way. So it's not the perfect fit, but it kind of does all right, basically. But I think the better option, and this is how I've always displayed the EOP with this figure, is have him kind of walking alongside it, kind of like that, pretending to hold on to the reins kind of thing. So I think that's probably the better option, because as I said, he doesn't sit on there too good, but it does a job basically. But I wish that they would actually release the EOP in the vintage collection, a better sculpt of it with better articulation. You know, we're getting a few creatures in the line these days, and this particular creature has now been in quite a few different medias that I think it warrants a new sculpt, in my opinion. But for now, we're going to have to make do. Right, in terms of articulation, the head is on a barbell joint, but unfortunately, because the bottom end of that barbell is set quite far down into the neck, it does limit the articulation quite a bit. You don't really get too much range of motion. It's actually quite poor, and it's even worse if you choose to have the goggles around the neck. But of course, you get swivels, a bit of back and forth, but really not a lot going on there with the neck. Hinges at the shoulders, which go about that far up. Again, you've got this tunic that kind of gets in the way, but they do go all the way round. Hinges at the elbows, which go a little past 90. We have hinges at the wrists, a hinge at that torso, quite a lot of movement there. We do have the barbell hips, split at the thigh, a knee joint which goes about 90 degrees, so that's pretty poor as well. Hinge and rocker on the ankle. Alright then guys, so that is Obi-Wan Kenobi in his Jedi Legend outfit from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and channel members. As always, your support means a great deal to me, so thank you so much. Thanks for watching everybody, and we shall see you on the next one.